All right, so here's a super hot, totally amazing first-time buyer program in Virginia. This is going to let you buy with as little as 0% down, and that's all without even being a veteran. Okay, so in this video, I'm gonna show you all you need to know about it, and even show you the math of how much you need to bring to closing or not for a sample purchase price. Just for some background, this was started in 1972. It is given up by the Virginia Housing Department Authority. The first letters of those four words make up VHDA. That's why it's known as the VHDA loan. And as of August 22, you can buy a home worth up to $665,000 with this program. Okay, and that was just increased from $550 the month before. So the point of this program is to help the honest, responsible, hardworking peoples who, even with good credit, have a hard time saving up a 3% down payment to buy a home. Because without this program, you'd have to save 3% for a down payment on a conventional loan or 3.5% on an FHA loan. And that's before accounting for another 3% or so in closing costs and prepaids. So without seller help and without this VHDA program, you could need to save 6 or 7% of the purchase price to buy. Okay, so there's a few different ways that you can set this program up for yourself. The first is with a grant to help with a down payment. This grant then allows you to only have to bring 1% for the down payment. The second way is to not bring a down payment, but then to have two loans combining for 100% of the purchase price. So you don't have to bring money for closing costs and prepaids. And then the third way is also to not bring a down payment, but instead of having two loans cover the full 100% of the purchase price, it will allow you to cover 101.5% of the purchase price, meaning that extra 1.5% goes towards covering your closing costs and prepaids. And that's before even asking the seller to cover some more or the rest of your closing costs. All right, so with a $375,000 purchase price, here's what it would look like in terms of what you need to save for closing day. A 3.5% down FHA loan means 13 grand down roughly, and roughly 11K for closing costs and prepaids. So that's 24,000 and change total. That's not using VHDA. Okay, now a 3% down conventional loan means roughly 11K for the down payment and roughly 11K for closing costs. So that's 22,000 and change, also without using the program. Then the first VHDA option, using a grant, means $3,750 down and roughly 11K for extras. Okay, so that's about 15 grand total. Now it gets better, okay? The second option, the 100% financing, means no down payment and just roughly 11K for closing costs and prepaids. All right, and then the third option, the 101.5% financing, means you only bring about $5,600 for closing day. And that's before you take into the account that, you know, the fact that your agent can negotiate for the seller to pay for some of those closing costs. All right, so let's say we did that then. If you got a 1.5% seller subsidy, or roughly another $5,600, then the grant option would drop from about 15 grand at closing to about 9,300. The 100% financing option would drop from 11,000 about to about 5,600, and the 101.5% financing would drop to $0 required for closing. That's just with this hypothetical scenario I'm running it through. All right, so at that point, boom, like closing's paid for. So with help from the state and your agent getting the sellers to pay for a little bit of your closing costs, you could bring nothing. All right, and this happens sometimes. All right, now you usually have to offer to increase the purchase price to get the sellers to help with closing costs, but the increase in your payment resulting from the purchase price increasing is usually marginal. Then let's say if we were able to get you a 3% subsidy from the seller. So this is a little bit more than the 1.5% that I just got you, or your agent got you. But 3% from the seller, you'd only have to bring $3,700 roughly for the grant option and nothing for the no down payment options. All right, so that is the beauty of the VHDA program. All right, now for some very important notes on this program. Number one is you can't empty out all your bank accounts to purchase this. You do have to have 1% of the purchase price still remaining in your bank account or in your retirement accounts after you close on this. Also, the grant option usually has the best payment, usually has a better interest rate by 0.125%, an eighth of a percent as compared to the full financing options. The minimum credit score is higher. For the 101.5% option, it's at 680 right now, whereas the other two have credit score minimums of 620. Another point, if the seller won't contribute for closing costs, you can increase your rate a little bit to cover some more of those on your own. You can close this in about 30 days. It's not the fastest time frame. We do a lot faster on other loans, but that's typical for the industry, is about 30 days. You have to be a first-time buyer, meaning you can't have owned a home in the last 3 years leading up to your closing day. This has to be an owner-occupied primary residence. There is an income limit on it. If you've got one or two people buying, you can't have the number's about $162,000 in combined yearly income between you, and with 3 or more people, that number is about $189,000. You do have to take and pass a test on your home buyer knowledge before you get this, but you don't have to do it before closing. You don't even have to pass that before you apply or even go under contract, but you do have to take that eventually. Now for figuring out payments, if you have more questions, call me, email me. That's why I do these videos. Okay, I do want you to watch these to then eventually engage with me offline at some point so we can get you into a house. You got to take action at some point to then get to where you want to go. But thank you for watching, and please subscribe. Keep watching, and do yourself a favor and watch my base playlist at Guiding Your Mortgage, where you just learn mortgage in an hour. If you want to know more or you don't know anything at all, that's where you want to go start. It's going to teach you everything that I would want to know about all this if I didn't know anything myself. It's about an hour long, chopped into 3 parts. You can speed it up if you want, and then there's tons of other great videos up on my channel once you're done with those. So thanks again, and I hope to see you there.